Hey y'all, hi. So I think a lot about something that Nick Lewis once said on YouTube. Nick Lewis is a brilliant creator on YouTube. He makes videos about interior decor and design. Nick once said, and I hope that I'm not misquoting him because I wrote it down, I think, in my own words, so it's a bit of a paraphrase, but I believe that he once said that the biggest problem with people's interiors and people's homes is people picking things that look good individually in the store without thinking about how those things will go with the rest of their home. The issue is not having an overarching concept. This is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately and thinking out loud a lot about lately. So it's not a totally new concept here among us, but I find that for some reason, putting it through the lens of home decor really sharpens the idea. I think it's partly because it really zeroes in on that moment in the store when you're drawn to something specific. And in my head, the vision of Nick talking about people in that moment, like drawn to something in the store, but then just forgetting to think about what their houses look like, that really sticks with me. Like, that's memorable. That's like changing the brain. But I think that it's also because I can somehow imagine an item of decor or a piece of furniture sticking out like a sore thumb in my home better than I can visualize something sticking out like a sore thumb in my wardrobe. And that is because decor and furniture is always all there together. It's like one piece of art, like a collage that you're just looking at that's made up of a bunch of things. Or maybe each room is a collage, but it's like fully present and there out all the time, and you're interacting with it all and seeing it all together. Whereas in your wardrobe, you only wear 2 or 3 pieces at a time. So it makes it harder to spot the outlier. There could be a piece of clothing in your wardrobe or an accessory that, because you're only ever trying to make it work with 2 or 3 other pieces, every time and it's not working, you're always not sure whether it's one of the other pieces in your outfit that's not making it work, the way you're feeling that day that's not making it work. You can't really see as clearly as you can that the item itself is what isn't working. It's like when I think about the idea of being in the store, about to buy a chair that I really think is cool in the store, and then remembering that actually my personal, very favorite type of interior and the kind of interior that I'm trying to create in my home doesn't match with that chair, and then being like, oh, I love this chair for what it is, but it's not quite the right fit. That's very clear. It's like a crystal clear event. And the way that that chair would not work in my home to me is very clear. And the fact that it would be a mistake to get it because then it would be there all the time in the space not working, that's very clear. And then as soon as I take that vision, that way of seeing, discernment, and then I switch it over to my wardrobe, or I like switch it over to an accessory or a garment, that clarity kind of softens. It gets a little bit fuzzier, a little bit harder to grasp, a little bit harder to be sure and to know exactly when I might be making that mistake. So that's why I like making these connections basically across disciplines, because it can sometimes make it easier to hold on to an idea or to clarify something in your own discipline, something that maybe has broader strokes or a different framework in the other discipline, but that actually has a lot in common with yours. So in the name of that, in this video, I'm going to offer you some real life examples from my own adventures with discernment when shopping for garments and accessories for my wardrobe that align completely with what Nick has talked about observing in the process of furnishing a home. So the first one that comes to mind for me is this. I love bright pops of color on principle in people's wardrobes and in people's outfits. A kind of makeup look that I like, for that matter. Like, I've been talking about this recently when talking about makeup theory or the aesthetics of putting on a face. So a makeup look that I like, and also an outfit that I really like, is something that's pretty subtle and toned down and then has one really bright, strong pop of color. And because of that, I'm often drawn to garments and accessories that would function as that pop of color. I particularly am somehow drawn to green suede shoes. I can think of several times when I've seen a pair of green suede shoes and been like, an outfit with those shoes would be so cool. Or just I see them and I'm like, those shoes in and of themselves are so beautiful. But it also happens to me with blue of every shade. Purple accessories are sometimes incredibly compelling to me, like a purse, a shoe, even a scarf, and garments as well. Sometimes really rich, bright, strong individual garments. There are so many really beautiful, brightly colored pieces, accessories, and clothing that would add so much to the proper outfit, and they often tend to really catch my eye. However, I know from experience that with most colors, with most bright colors. If I have the garment or the accessory, then when I'm actually getting dressed, when it comes to accessorizing and that piece is on the table as one of the options, I'll run into this roadblock feeling, kind of. Green shoes. Let's just use the green suede shoes as an example. Green doesn't really work with the vision that I've been moving towards as I build my wardrobe. I tend to have more warm-toned garments. And it's not that you can't wear ever a green shoe with warm-toned garments, but green will pull the red undertones out in like the browns that I have chosen, for example, because I tend towards warm-toned browns. And then the color story of the outfit will end up being much more dispersed, like more dynamic, because it'll feel like there's warm and cool, there's red and green, and it'll start to feel quite multicolored. And that isn't what makes me feel my best. I just know that for sure. That feeling, the feeling of wanting to stick with what makes me feel my best and to really be wearing outfits that are in the image of the vision that I have been building towards, that is more powerful than the momentary appreciation for the green shoe, the intellectual or just sort of abstract artistic appreciation for the green shoe. I theoretically, get the green shoe because I like it so much in the abstract, conceptually, and then I have it, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with what I am trying to do. So what I've learned to do is to stick to pretty much just one pop of color, which is cherry red, because cherry red is really glowing and special. I have like one really bright cherry red sweater. I don't think I have any cherry red accessories right now, but burgundy kind of functions like that, although it's not as bright of a pop of color. I have some burgundy shoes. That's a stronger color than most of what I wear, but it works with those kind of red-toned browns, rosy neutrals. It doesn't create as much contrast with the base outfit that I'm wearing on any given day, even though it adds a pop of color. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been in a store or been shopping online and been drawn to a brightly colorful garment or item and then had that moment that Nick describes, where I could have bought it just because it appealed to me and then ended up bringing it home and realizing, it just doesn't go with my stuff. With a green shoe or, a purple bag or something, the experience, my version of that would be, I want to keep wanting to wear it. I want to think that I didn't make a mistake. So it sits in my wardrobe. And then every time I go to put it on, it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't feel quite right. So I've learned to avoid that. Here's another, I think, quite interesting example from quite a long, long time ago. There were these delicate silver earrings that were shaped like twigs. I think it was an Etsy seller or an independent jeweler or something. And I'm talking, this is like 15 to 20 years ago in my life, like really ancient history, but an early lesson for me in this kind of thing. I coveted these earrings so much because they had a slightly unusual way of sitting in the ears. It was like a cast silver twig that really looked like a real twig that then kind of went through the ear and down the other side. So it really seemed like there was a branch growing off of the ear and then little gold flowers sitting on the branches. Incredibly delicate, kind of like a tree that had cherry blossoms on it, but turned into these very delicate, very detailed, asymmetrical earrings. Like each one was different. They were very, very expensive for me at the time. I want to say it was like $150 or something, like really way more than I'd ever spent on jewelry, on pretty much anything, maybe except for Tango shoes at that point in my life, like just so much. I coveted them for years, like a couple of years, and I saved and finally purchased them. I think when the shop was having a 20% off sale. I remember it so well, even though it was so long ago. I purchased them, they arrived, and they just didn't make an impact. When I had them on, they kind of got lost in my hair, couldn't really see them. Even if I had my hair up, they were just too delicate to hold their own on me. I think they probably look really amazing on certain people. If I had had a different haircut or different hair, different skin tone, and a different style, like worn different clothing, been in a different setting, if I did something else rather than going out dancing tango, which is what I tended to wear earrings for, they would have been beautiful. On me, in my life, with my wardrobe, with my face and my hair and my skin and myself, they just completely disappeared and were so disappointing to me. It was like as little tiny individual sculptures, looking close up at each one, they were beautiful sculpturally, but as sculptural jewelry on me, they had no impact. Now that years have passed and I have a mood board with a lot of pinned images of sculptural jewelry that I'm drawn to, alongside a lot of pinned images of outfits that I'm drawn to, and I can kind of see the bigger picture of what all works together in the world of the wardrobe that I'm trying to conceive of, I know that I need something chunkier and more statement, maybe a little bit more modern for it to work on me and alongside the rest of my aesthetic, like the other things that I tend to wear. So those earrings are a perfect example of something that I was just too zoomed in on them. Like my obsession was very about the individual item. I didn't know at that time yet how to zoom out and think about kind of their use value and the way that they would actually fit into my wardrobe and my life. Okay, and thirdly and lastly, this is a very subtle example, I think, and a much more recent example. This is just last weekend when my friend Jenna was visiting me and we went to a consignment shop that I really love that carries a bunch of really cool designer stuff. There was a pair of pants there. Right now, my dream pant is like the pants that painter was wearing in the other video in which I talked about outfits that I'm obsessed with. And I think that she was just wearing menswear from head to toe, like an oversized white shirt and these black rolled up pants. You can't even see what they are, right? But it's clearly just like slim but roomy, high-waisted, menswear-inspired or men's pants that are sort of a style of pant that might go with a suit, but they're beaters, like they're casual. It's the kind of thing that you could wear in your painting studio, right? Not that I have one, but you know, it's the vision, it's the vibe. So I found some pants by Mara Hoffman, a designer that I'm always keeping my eye out for because I think that they paused or stopped production. Mara Hoffman pants are notoriously great and they tend to be made out of natural fibers, and these they were made out of mostly cotton, I think with a little bit of tencel. They had a really faint pinstripe on them. I held them up and I was like, these are the dream pants. I can't believe I found them here. I was so excited. I went in and put them on in the dressing room and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't more excited to buy them. I felt I should. I felt that they were perfect. I just felt a little bit of reluctance to buy them. And so because I couldn't figure out why, I dug into my recent journeys through my own mood boards, my recent videos about how to kind of build a personal style. I was like thinking about what I have even said and saying like, what would Hannah, I was like, what would Hannah tell? If Hannah was here in the dressing room with you, what would she tell you? That's what I asked myself. And then here's what she would have said. The artist at work kind of aesthetic, oversized menswear vibe. The vision is of a really breathable, almost like wrinkled pant. The pants that I was trying on in the dressing room there, on paper, they looked good. But in reality, they were kind of sharp. The fabric was quite thick. They were sort of tapered at the ankle. There was a crease down the front. They were washable in water. Like I could have washed them and dried them, but they were always just going to have a little bit more of a formal quality. They didn't have like the fluidity and effortlessness of the clothes that I described in that recent video about finding your personal style. Like I was talking about seeing in my mood board that I wanted to just sort of drape myself in fabric and then accessorize with interesting accessories. These didn't really fit the bill of draping myself in fabric. It felt more like putting on a bit of a sharp formal pant that was like, They were just, this was why I didn't buy them. They were just like, when I'm looking for like, I wanted, and they were, and that was the best that I could do to explain it to my friend there. But she was like, yeah, you're right. There's just something, they're just not it. They're just not working. So in that case, it's the subtlest example because on the surface of it, it did fit with my mood board and my vision and my home, the rest of the items in my home, you know, the rest of my wardrobe. They looked like they were what I was looking for, but it was like they were masquerading as what I was looking for. And I had to dig a little deeper and realize that they just weren't quite actually functionally what I'm looking for. So those are my 3 examples. I would love to hear yours, either times when you were in the store and you caught yourself in the act of being about to buy something, either for your home or for your wardrobe that you realize you like for its own sake, but that doesn't fit in with everything else, or times when you didn't catch yourself in the act and you brought the thing home, put it in your wardrobe or on your body or into your home, and then you were like, oh no, it looked good in the store, but it doesn't fit the kind of stylistic and visual brief. And if you're here at the end of the video, like, well, that sounds fine, but how do you write the brief? You know what I mean? Like, how do you develop a sense of the style that you want? Well, I have a bunch of other videos about that. So I'll link those those in the cards and in the description box. How to find your personal style, the #1 mistake that I made when trying to develop my personal style. That's kind of like a sister video to that one. I'll link them all down below. I also have a whole fashion playlist that you can click on and watch all the fashion videos straight through. Thank you for being here today with me. And of course, thanks to Nick Lewis for the inspiration. I'll link Nick's channel down below as well. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.